10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The promised land.
How are we doing, everybody? Sam here, live at 9:33. It was just turned 9:34 there. Wednesday, the 20th of July. After another cracking preseason game. I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd be enjoying preseason as much as I'm enjoying preseason. But when you see what Manchester United are doing, what we're working towards, and what we're seeing in action, it's exciting, isn't it? That 3-1 yesterday, we're going to speak about that game against Crystal Palace. Goals from Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, and Jadon Sancho. And sexy football, sexy goals, pressing as a team. So much to talk about. I gave my match reaction yesterday. You would have watched that, but we can have another little discussion together. Interactive show, as I always do every single morning. Now, I'm going to be speaking about the main transfer conversation we're having today is all around exits, because there's a lot I think is going to be happening next week when it comes to players leaving the club. Now, I will cover and brush over this Frankie de Jong Chelsea bid. Chelsea, no, they haven't. No, they haven't. They haven't. All right? It's just, it adds to the hysteria, adds to the mayhem. Oh, no. So I'm going to cover that, but I'm just going to cover it loosely. And I've told you, it's about responsible reporting. It's about understanding what is the right and the wrong things to say to people and when to say to people. But, you know, each to their own. I'm going to cover that all this morning. But lots of you down here in the comments. So many green names. We've got Peter. I can see you down there. We've got Sam Chiang, Drake, Matt, Vicky. Good morning to you. Chris, Dixon, Jason, yeehaw. We've got Simon, Alan, Danielle, K-Animation, Charlie, Sarah. Honestly, there's so many names. There's so many names now. It's absolute madness. And look, of course, I know this, right? Yells, you're saying, look, I'll reserve judgment for the league game. But look, that's, again, if we're talking about the natural point of pessimism for Manchester United fans, bingo, bango. It's because we've been here before and we've been stung before, haven't we? I think it was Louis van Gaal. We won every game in that preseason and we lost our game against Swansea. We were like, it feels a little bit different this time. And I'm not just saying that because I want it to be different. Although I do want it to be different. It feels a little bit different this time, with everybody working towards a clear plan and a clear... Obviously, as far as we knew, everybody was working towards a clear philosophy under Louis van Gaal. And nobody could really tell you what that philosophy was. Probably kind of based in something that happened in the 90s. But with Erik ten Hag, I think that's the thing I found most... I've said that about a lot of things. I found a lot of things exciting, but the thing I'm really finding exciting is that none of this is predictable. No, sorry, the complete opposite of what I meant. Everything is predictable. We've been able to sort of speak about what we expected from Ten Hag before he came in. We've talked about everything we saw in training from Ten Hag that we expected before he came in. And then you kind of know what you should be expecting to see on the pitch if those two things happen. And they've all happened. They've all just followed each other. And it's been predictable, but in the best, most complimentary way. Jacob, I see you joining there, my friend. Let's have a little, let me know where you're watching from. Like Ian watching from the whole way from Cape Town. Good morning to you. And as I said, I think that's probably... What are you enjoying the most? Everyone get your comments in now. I'll be interested to hear this. What are you enjoying most about preseason talk? Because I know it's not just the fact that I know it's not the results, right? Beating a Crystal Palace team, which is missing the majority of their first team players. I mean, it's not going to be the definition of whether this is a bad or a good season. Beating Liverpool 4-0 when they had their teenagers out, that's not going to be the way we're judged. Same with the Melbourne victory game. But there's been a lot of positives. There really have been. And what you're saying down here, Sam, I'm really liking the way Rashford, Tony, and Jadon seem to be gelling. That can only bode well. Yesterday, we really saw quite a few things. We saw Martial in particular. And again, if we're talking about being stung, I can't help but hold my judgment on Martial just for the time being. I mean, it's again, that's called a precaution. Martial, I've seen this before. But again, I don't know. Everything just feels like it's got a bit of a different edge. And maybe it does because Erik ten Hag is our manager. Well, Martial's playing not only with a smile on his face, but body language. Body language is a big thing, right? And seeing as none of us are body language experts, we can't look into it too much. But it's the sort conclusions you can create in your own head. But Martial just looks good. He looks like he knows. Everybody knows what they're doing. Peter, you're enjoying the exciting football. Chris, you're saying, look, the team spirit, the work ethic, and the passing. Niall, you're saying that attitude is absolutely spot on. Tyler, you're going for the fight that the players are showing there, having a set goal and sticking to it, team confidence. I'm enjoying the fact that Ronaldo's in Portugal and even watching his. And look, again, I've told you many, many times, I'm holding back on that video that I'm doing on Ronaldo because I want it to play out a little bit more. For me, the Ronaldo conversation changes massively if Ronaldo's not at Carrington on the first day that all these players are back there. I don't know what day that is because we play Aston Villa on Saturday in Perth, and then it's a long-ass flight back. I don't know what day they're supposed to be back in training at Carrington. If that's Monday, I want Ronaldo there on Monday. Or Rooney. No, maybe not Rooney. And if Ronaldo's not there on Monday, there's a lot more questions to ask. There really, really are. Warren, you're saying what I'm enjoying is Erik ten Hag swearing at the players on the sidelines. Ian, you're saying loving the energy and the positive attitude. I'm enjoying the football too. Sean, you're enjoying the style and identity. Isn't that great? Everybody can everybody's enjoying this preseason so far in their own ways. Everyone's got their own. It's like the same way that you can listen to a song, and 10 people can listen to like, oh, I'm focusing on the vocals, I'm focusing on the bass, I'm focusing on the guitar, and everybody can sort of have a part of that song that they listen to maybe more intently and with more focus than others. And it's the same way that you look at this Manchester United team. Every fan is going to be taking something out of that and focusing on that. And it's good. I'm going to do another video today. I really, really, honestly, and I've said this with the biggest smile on my face. I'm so happy that the content that is doing well on the channel this summer is the content that I think there should be more of on YouTube. And maybe that's why they're doing well, because there isn't enough of it. Because it's easy to do the shouty transfer. Well, it's not easy, completely easy to do the shouty transfer stuff. Let's not degrade that. But it's the low-hanging fruits, right? The transfer stories. When it comes to doing a bit of more insightful content, it requires a little bit of research and a bit of knowledge. It's not as easy to do, but I'm glad it's doing really well. And today I want to really, really focus on the fullbacks, because we saw it in that game there. It's not the first time we've seen it. We've seen it the whole way through the preseason, but I want to do a video on it. Fizz, you're saying the new way of play, the mindset instilled by Erik ten Hag in players when attacking and defending is a unit. The shouts from Erik ten Hag shows that commitment and the will. Now, Erik ten Hag, obviously something that happened yesterday was Erik ten Hag shouting from the sidelines. Everybody presumed that he was shouting at David De Gea because De Gea hoofed it long. Might have been shouting at Charlie Savage, but either way, it was Erik ten Hag towards the end of the game when we're like 3-1 up, losing his shit, absolutely shouting at his players. And that's the intensity. That defines the intensity of Erik ten Hag. Even in the 90th minute, he's still the same dog as he is in the first minute. And that's what you need. And that's what we wanted for a long, long time. Go down here and read a few of your comments. Tony, I appreciate that, man. Look, you can have quantity. You can have quality and quantity in the same vein. And I like to think that's what I balance on this channel. Every morning, I'm here at 9:30 a.m. with a live interactive show. Every afternoon, I'm there with a video that's a shorter, snappier video, either based on an interview, based on a bit of insight. And then as and when big stories break, I will always go with extra live content. And you're saying, look, got to give Ten Hag credit. He said there's some talent in the squad. We all doubted it. I didn't doubt that at all. I absolutely didn't doubt. And I've reiterated that. I just forgot to do the video I was going to do before the preseason started, saying these are 5 players. I had it on my list. It's just there were so many videos I needed to do. I never did it. 5 players that I think would thrive under Ten Hag. It was obvious that this squad last season was not the sum of its parts. I know that there's improvements that we could do in the squad, but we're our team. Come on. We went into the season thinking we could fucking challenge for the title after finishing second, signing Ronaldo, Varane, and Sancho. Even moderate United fans, and I consider myself a moderate, we all felt this team could challenge for the title. And then our arses fell out, didn't it? Jacob, you've sent a super chat, buddy. You didn't say what it was. IQ Insane, he didn't say what you're doing, David. There was no names mentioned. That's what I mean. There was no names mentioned. But look, how impressive was this lad yesterday? I want to give a little shout out to tyron Malacia. And again, because people enjoy complaining, people will complain that we're only signing players from the Eredivisie. And then they'll go and wax lyrical about how good tyron malacia looks. It's almost like Erik ten Hag knows what he is doing with the signings that he is making. He was fantastic, man. He got a full 70, 75 minutes. I think he got longer than anybody. Might be wrong in that. But he's certainly got more than 45. And you haven't really seen that much in the preseason. I think maybe against Aston Villa, you might see a few players get the full 90. I think we're really seeing our starting 11 taking shape for that game against Brighton. There's quite a few obvious players. I think Dalot's definitely going to be in there. And by the looks of things, by that performance there, Malacia, it was just, It's not just overlapping runs. It's not just energy in the tackle. A lot of it was based on positioning. Where he was out of possession, the positions he occupied meant that Manchester United were more protected against the press. Sorry, not against the guess. But if our press fails and breaks down, Malacia was great there. Ryan, obviously, everyone's going to wax lyrical about him. But look, that's what happens when you're a good eye. When you've got the good judge, you can identify a player there who's 17 million on paper and he's only 22. But you know full well that through your coaching, that you can make him a 40, 50 million pound player. And Malacia, perfect example of that. Dave, you're saying he was immense. Dalot played a blinder as well. Absolutely. I feel not like I owe an apology to Dalot because I never really went at him with like a double loaded shotgun. Dalot, last year, I think he really progressed through and he kind of stagnated a little bit. But Dalot, so far this preseason, he's really, really progressing. I think so anyway. He's improving. And I think that's just down to the fullbacks. That's what I mean. I'm doing a video today on the fullbacks because I don't think it's coincidence that both of them were some of our best performers yesterday. Inside this inside a modern football system, fullbacks are so crucial. It's exactly why so many of us wanted United to invest in fullbacks this summer because we knew full well that we need better fullbacks. But we also knew that there were kind of not bigger priorities, but there were huge holes in the middle of the team. One of which has been sorted with Martinez. One of them hopefully will be resolved with Frankie de Jong. And then one of them needs to be resolved up front with the striker. But fullback, I didn't think we would have the funds to do that this summer. And that's why getting Malacia at that point was fantastic. Now, something I really want to speak about yesterday before I move on, and I will speak about this de Jong situation. I want to give a bit more clarity to it, right? But if we're talking about Malacia, I think we need to talk about Harry Maguire. And you know full well how much I have slated him. Last year, I did 4 videos in particular. I remember doing them all. I remember exactly what I said. I stand by everything that I said there. Me going as strongly against Harry Maguire wasn't simply because he was Manchester United captain, but it was because he was Manchester United captain. I think as a captain, you are held accountable to a very different standard to anybody else. And if you fall below those standards, then you will get, I think, slated by fans. But yesterday, a really weird flex in that stadium to see fans booing him before he's even touched the ball. And that's in like Australia. It's like, they must be basing their mind up on what they're reading in the international press because they haven't watched Harry Maguire. He's only in one random game in Australia. It was a bit weird. It was really odd. And this is what I mean. Like, I've got no agenda against any individual player. Harry Maguire, I might not think is a long-term prospect for Manchester United. And I think that we could replace him with a better centre-back. But if I had an agenda, I wouldn't be able to praise him. And that's what an agenda is. An agenda is when you're so blinded by one side of the argument, it doesn't matter if evidence pops up on the other side. You just can't take it into account. You just won't take it into account. You don't want to. Harry Maguire played well yesterday, right? Harry Maguire still got... I'm going to be so surprised if he proves me wrong that he can play in a high line in the Premier League. I really just don't think that's going to happen. But yesterday, played quite well. Man United were a little bit better against that high, whenever we lost the ball, we were better at winning it back a little bit higher up the pitch. McTominay was doing well in that sense in the first half. And even when they broke through, we had Malacia down there and he was holding his position a little bit better. And I think positionally, he's a bit smarter in the high line than Luke Shaw is at the moment. Jacob, you're saying, watching from Skien in Norway. How you doing, buddy? What do you think about Garnacho not getting any game time yet? I was going to mention, I'm going to speak about that later in the show, Jacob. Don't worry about that. I've noticed it too. They've obviously watched Harry. He's going to be exposed soon. Of course, fans don't trust Maguire. Fans don't trust Maguire. And you're saying Maguire's not shit, but he doesn't fit for us. And he's not a crap footballer. He is not a crap footballer. He just will not suit that high system. I don't think so. But Erik ten Hag, he's backing him. Because in possession, he's an all right footballer. It's probably where some of his strengths lie. Name, you're saying, I prefer Martial over Ronaldo for Erik ten Hag's attacking fluidity. Goals will come from all angles. In the same go, imagine Cristiano Ronaldo. You see how many cutbacks we're doing? Constant cutbacks. If we have Ronaldo hanging in the box, just waiting for these cutbacks, he's going to score 20, 30, 40. I've got no doubt that if Ronaldo stays, that Ronaldo's going to bang in goals left, right, and centre for Manchester United next year. I just don't know what's going on. I'll be honest. I think if he does stay, it's because of a lack of choice, a lack of alternative. Because Chelsea doesn't want him. Don't think Bayern Munich's going after him. Let's see what happens there. But for me, personally, next week's a major week in the Ronaldo. I think making any sort of assumptions before next week would be a little bit dangerous with Ronaldo. If he doesn't join back with that team, with the team when they go back to Carrington, I mean, because look, last season, fucking devastating news when him and his wife lost their baby. But Ronaldo was back in training like 3 days later. He obviously got the round of the everyone stood up at Anfield for him. You know, if this is a personal family issue, it must be absolutely major to keep him out of the spotlight for this long. I hope it isn't. But then if it isn't, it opens up a whole different can of worms. Really, really does. That's what I mean. Stay back on the Ronaldo story a little bit until next week. And I think that's when we, as fans, can really start. We can't demand anything really, but you can really start asking questions. Big Gay, how you doing, buddy? Big Gay Al. Remember Big Gay Al from South Park? What character? We do watch Maguire play on TV, and we know he's trash captain. That's why he got booed. No second chances from fans, I guess. That's what I mean. Everyone's made their mind up on Maguire. A lot of the fans have made their mind up on Maguire. And I'll be honest, Harry, that's your own fault. The way you presented yourself, the way you carried yourself as captain last year, and those interviews. I told you, I always revert to that interview before the Liverpool game. I've been picked. But I've been picked by two managers. Must be doing something right. It's like, Jesus, man, read the room. Read the room. Where's the awareness? Where is the awareness? Rohit saying, what are you doing? We don't have ready replacements for any of the front three. How are we supposed to finish top four with the squad? I mean, we do have some strength in depth. Of course we do. Certainly not in the number 9 position, though. That's a bit odd. Drake saying it's clear nobody wants Maguire in this team. What, you mean nobody apart from the man who is running our team? And that's Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag, the thing I always enjoy about him, and this is probably one of the most important parts of management, but also one of the most difficult to manage. And I'm not just talking about football managers. It's him saying stuff like this. Because the timing of when you start the press, I still see switches which we can't afford. We can prepare a better press. So, like, despite the fact that Manchester United have scored 11 goals, won 3 games in the preseason so far, he's not getting blown away by it all. And it's about staying grounded as a manager, about being able to criticize your players, but at the same time, call it a shit sandwich. That's what I say. It's a very standard tactical tool for management. Give a compliment, say the mistake, end it with a compliment. The shit sandwich. And that's kind of the way he carries himself, because he's quick to compliment what he's seeing. As I'm playing a lot of good football, he says some beautiful goals, but at the same time, he doesn't just get carried away with it all. Alex Reed, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't turn off, my friend, if you don't want to watch, because I'm not repeating anything. I'm talking about the game that quite literally, my friend, happened less than 24 hours ago. So if I manage to repeat that video, that would be incredible. I don't know how I do that. But look, if you want to talk about repeating videos, how about I'm not running with any sort of headline here about this De Jong bid going in, because it's not there, right? There is no bid for De Jong. De Jong was in action yesterday. Inter Miami, stupid website, always refreshes itself. Inter Miami playing Barcelona in the preseason tour. 6-0, got absolutely steamrolled. I'm pretty sure that Phil Neville brought on his son and let's have a look. Let's go down here. I'm pretty sure he brought on his son and also, Romeo Beckham brought them both on. Harvey Neville came on in the 46th minute. He's not played a minute in the MLS. And Romeo Beckham played 4 minutes. He's not played a minute either. Anyway, Frankie de Jong played in that game yesterday. As you can see down here, he came on in the 46th minute for Frank Kessie. And you're seeing rumours of a bid going in. And I have not said a thing. I've not said anything. And I won't say anything. I think with this de Jong situation, I know you might not like it, but I think we're going to have to park it for a little bit. It feels like Manchester United have done everything that Manchester United can do. De Jong is now on the preseason tour with Barcelona. Our bid's gone in. It's been accepted. 75 million guaranteed. Any reports of Chelsea coming in and trying to swoop, it's just going to be hot air at this moment in time. James Ducker spoke to Adam from the United Stand yesterday. First time he's actually, I've tried to get James on for a few interviews, but he's always stayed away from fan channels. So fair enough to Adam for getting him on. I'm happy to praise good content when it comes out. I'm not, again, no agenda. And he said Ten Hag is desperate for de Jong. The impasse is around deferred wages. We know that. And as of yesterday, there is no breakthrough. Man United are willing to play the long game. I think we're going to be sitting there. I think we're going to be waiting the majority of the summer for this de Jong situation. Remember that the transfer window doesn't close until the 31st of August. I think this one could really drag on. It feels like Ten Hag is willing to wait and willing to put all his eggs in that basket. And then if he doesn't come in, he's willing to focus on trying to develop from within until he can get de Jong. It doesn't seem like he wants to go for anybody else. It seems like he wants to just wait, and it's either de Jong or nobody. And if you're looking at how many bad signings United have made, the idea that instead of signing who we need, we just go and sign somebody else, we've done that quite a lot, haven't we? So I'll be interested to know whether you think that's the right thing to do or not. If we don't get de Jong, hypothetically, do you think it will be a mistake from Ten Hag to not get an alternative, not get someone like Ruben Neves for 50, 60 million or whoever else is on that list? Or would you back his idea that he'd rather wait and get de Jong a year later? Depends on where your patience levels are, right? Nick, what are you saying, sir? I'm not saying we should forget about what the players did to us last season, but being super critical, negative, booing players all the time doesn't help. It will only be counterproductive. It's kind of a natural, it's a natural thing, right, Nick, isn't it? Fans don't forget, and fans shouldn't forget. I mean, that's the point. We don't forget that we've won, we've won 20 English league titles, do we? We don't forget what happened in 19. You don't forget what happens in football, I always find it weird. Booing is such a weird thing. But I'll be honest, I don't think I'm in a position where I can massively complain about the booing too much because I've done my videos on Maguire last season where I was so heavily critical of him. So maybe I fueled it a little bit, and therefore it will be massively hypocritical of me to go and just slag everyone off for booing him. But booing, it's weird. I just find booing a weird flex. I really, really do. I never understood it and I never will get it. And you're saying, Sam, I'll trust Ten Hag in this. However, I think we'll need a cut-off point where we do go in for somebody else. And that's what I don't think he will. That's what my gut instinct is telling me. From that interview that he did this week, my gut instinct is telling me that Ten Hag is either going to sign Frankie de Jong or he's going to wait until he can sign Frankie de Jong rather than going out and spending 40 to 50 million on a de Jong alternative. That's why I think so anyway. K-Drama with an excellent comment there. I think this is completely true. I mean, technically booing is a form of criticism. It's just a bit fucking weird. Boo. Boo. It's just odd. I don't understand why you'd ever do that. But that's a personal opinion, I suppose. Vassi, what are you saying? Sam, Ten Hag is all about getting the right player profile. Trust our manager, after all, is his style of football. Well, that's why so far, look at that. Look how well this lad settled in. Straight away. taken to Manchester United, taken to the pitch and taken to Erik Ten Hag. It's because Ten Hag probably hasn't really had to coach Tyron Malacia. It's all up there already. Therefore, it makes Ten Hag's job easier because he hasn't got to sort of shout at him from the sidelines, hasn't got to do anything in training. It's just all a bit natural with Malacia. And that'll be the exact same thing with Lisandro Martinez. He won't have to coach him, pull him to the side, say, no, do this, do that, do this, do that. It will just happen. And it will make his job easier. And it should make it so that everybody else around them start training better. I'm going to read a few more of your comments down here. They boo as a form of communication because they haven't had they can't have a conversation on how they feel. Right? Okay, fair enough. The hypocrisy is strong. Booing in the stadium, then having selfies with Maguire after the game. I don't know. It's just, I understand why people are so massively frustrated with Maguire. Jesus. I was last season. And no one's really going to, I don't think any United fan will forget in a hurry what happened last season. They really won't. Like the sheer humiliation of it all. Not once against Liverpool, not twice. Well, actually, it was twice against Liverpool. But the City games, the Brighton games, the Watford away. Oh, my God. Like last season, there were like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 performances where I don't think fans are going to forget that in a hurry. And the only way you change that now is by playing very good football. And you're going to have to come through a cacophony of negativity to get there. But that's what happens when you've got a job in a public space. When you're a high profile position, you're getting big wages, and there's a lot of responsibility on it. You're going to have that's going to happen, right? That's going to happen. Now, look, there's a good comment there saying, Sam, who are the outgoing players, Sam? Let's start talking about that. That's the main part of this show. I apologize. I got a little bit distracted there, but I wanted to speak about the game yesterday because I think it's really interesting to have these conversations here. Next week, I think, is a massive week. I think what Erik Ten Hag has done so far, if you're looking at player outs from the club, not really been involved in any of them, is he? It's all about Pogba, Mata, Matic, Lingard, and Cavani, all leaving on a free transfer. Good news that they all left on free transfers and weren't given contract extensions because, previously Man United may well have done that. But next week, there's still so much more to do with this squad. And this is what I want to run through here. So this is the squad here. I've got a little paintbrush. And I'm just, in my opinion, I'm going to put. You can shout down in the comments who you think is not in danger, but who Manchester United should be looking at shifting out between now and the start of the season, because there's quite a lot of these players, and you might not like it, but I think Eric Bailly is definitely on that list. If I'm going to go through this defense, there's a lot of these defenders who I think Manchester United should be looking at shipping out if possible. There really are quite a few down there. And I would say Alvaro Fernandez, not because he's a bad player, but because I don't think he's going to get that many minutes now. I'd rather see Alvaro Fernandez go out and get some loan time. But in terms of these ones up here, Phil Jones has been doing his own stuff in pre-season. He's been at Carrington, and he's trained on his own pre-season training plan. He's not part of Manchester United's plans. And because we've signed Lisandro Martinez, we now need to get rid of players. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of you saying, look, keep buy. I'm done. I'm done with buy. I don't mean that in a horrible way. I just know how this story ends. We've got 4 first-choice centre-backs there. As far as Erik Ten Hag is concerned, I know you might not like it, but it's Victor Lindelof, it's Harry Maguire, it's Rafael Varane, and it is Lisandro Martinez. They will be our 4 first-choice centre-backs not next season, this season, right? Super chat coming there from Matt. What are you saying, sir? The boos are a symptom. If the best coach in the world can't fix Maguire this season, then what? No excuses for him. He's not 100% fit yet, so fingers crossed. Of course, the boos are a symptom. You're completely right now. But in the same way that Marcus Rashford, I think he's got one season. He's got to prove himself this season. I don't think he's going to get any more leeway after this. If we have another season where Rashford's just a ghost of himself, doesn't look like it so far in pre-season, fingers crossed, I think Rashford should be sold next year, and I will put Maguire in that same category. Sell buy when the stock is high. Eric Bailly, man, I love the guy, but come on, people, he's one of those signings now where we're just going to go, it's a shame he got so many injuries because when he played X amount of games, he was great. And then blah, blah, blah. You know how the story ends. Eric Bailly, he's not going to start for Manchester United week in, week out. Not with the players that we've got inside our squad. Not with what Ten Hag is building. And we need to start setting play. This is the thing, right? Because a lot of you fans down here, right, in the comments, are pretty representative of how our board has worked for a long time. Just hold on to him. Oh, just in case. And then we do that and we delay and we delay and we delay. And then we can't get any money because by the time we want to set a player, nobody wants to buy him. That's why we've been so crap at selling as a football club for years. Erik Bailly is somebody that we can sell this summer for good money. And we should be selling him for good money, allowing us to reinvest back into our squad. Phil Jones, different conversation. But Phil Jones, I think I wish him the best of luck outside of Manchester United. I really, really do. I think we can sell him with somewhere between 5 and 10 million. And I think we should be able to get the best part of 20 million for Bailly and Jones. Two players who, in the grand scheme of things, if they stay for the whole season, I reckon they would have between 5 and 10 Premier League starts between them across a 38-game campaign. Maybe. Depending on injuries. And you really want to keep those players? Nah, man. Absolutely not. I don't think so anyway. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit hopeful here, but geez, we've got that for Andreas Pereira. Why can't we get that for him? Keep the same energy for Varane. Varane's had one season. And yeah, I will give Varane a bit more leeway because he is Champions League Varane. When we signed him, we literally was a Rolls-Royce defender. Injuries got in his way. But again, if Varane has a whole another season where injuries just curtail his progress, we're going to have to go, well, we made another mistake there. And we're going to have to go and sign someone else. But for me, Bailly and Jones, absolutely. Next week, I want to hear movement for both of them. Phil Jones, he's not been part of the preseason tour at all. And I told you, the best thing that could happen to United last year was Phil Jones having a full season without injury. And he had that. And Erik Bailly, honestly, I think if you want to hold on to Erik Bailly, you're just being too sentimental. You're not being ruthless enough as a fan. And that's the mentality I want to change for Manchester United. Now, if we're going down here, there are definite others I think could be on that list too. Well, I put 5 down there. Now, Alex Telles, that ship has sailed. I'm not sure that ship ever left a dock at Manchester United. I'll be completely honest. Alex Telles, when we signed him from Porto, I thought I was excited. I thought it was a good signing, but he just ended up being a Luke Shaw cheerleader. It was basically a rocket up Shaw's arse, and that was the reason. That was the reason he was a positive signing. But look, Alan down here saying, look, again, like we're being realistic, purely realistic here. Maguire's not being sold this summer. It is not happening. So I'm not going to waste any energy or conversation trying to say, just ship him off, get rid of him because I don't like him. Even though I do think we should do that, it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to waste any time on it. But Alex Telles, because of Tyrone Malacia coming in now and showing how a fullback could be at Manchester United, we should be getting rid of him. And Alex Telles, I mean, Leon, have they signed left back since they lost out on Malacia? We should be able to get decent money for Alex Telles. He could go there and he could play well. Aaron Wambasaka. Now, that's one where I think if you're looking at being ruthless, it's Wambasaka. I think the fact that Erik Ten Hag has used Diogo Dalot so much in this preseason so far has shown where his beliefs lie in Aaron Wambasaka. And I'll be honest, I don't really think he's got much belief at all. In terms of my hot takes, I've had 2 terrible takes. Actually, I've had more than 2 terrible takes in my United covering career. But one of my worst takes was last year when I said that Aaron Wambasaka was going to be one of the probably our most improved player. I thought that he was going to get a partnership with Sancho on the right-hand side, and I thought that would allow him to develop in the attacking sense, and it just didn't happen. And also, Sancho didn't go out on the right-hand side. But the curious thing about Wambasaka leaving there is probably this bit of news that broke yesterday. Coming in from Holland, the Ajax are after Ethan Laird because he only got 1 year left on his deal. Not really a transfer I expected could happen, but maybe if they want him, Ajax, the price for him this week is 20 million. And then a week later, the price is going to be 30 million. And that's going to rise to 35 million with add-ons. And then we got a deal. But Ethan Laird, I'm a little bit surprised about that. What? Well, it's actually, who am I kidding? This is just another club interested in Laird rather than Manchester United saying that we are going to be selling Laird. What do you think about that? I don't know whether Laird will leave, because if we're talking about first team here, you need 2 players in every position. That's how it works in football. You want 2 players in every position. Now, Wambasaka, pretty much, I would say, the only club you think would take him right now on the wages he's on is probably Crystal Palace. Now, that was linked at the start of the summer. Nothing else has really happened since. But it's obvious that Wambasaka is not part of Erik ten Hag's plans. I think we would have seen more of him. And anytime we've seen him, unfortunately for Wambasaka, he's just looked like Wambasaka. Defensive game is such a natural thing to him, like a duck to water. But going forward, the touches, the movement, the positioning, it's just not right. It's just not right for him. And it's just not right for this system. In the same way that Wambasaka, in the same way that Harry Maguire, I think, is a good defender, but I don't think he's a good defender. He won't be a good defender inside this Ten Hag system. Wambasaka is a good defender. I don't think he'll be a good defender inside this Ten Hag system. About player profiles, that's why I'm identifying these players who are leaving. Let me go down here and read a few of your comments. Letting Laird go would be a mistake, says Ant. I mean, Laird, I like the look of Laird. I'd rather not let Laird go. I think it should be probably Delo and then Laird as our options at right back. Because I think I've got Brandon Williams down there. I've got Tuanzebe down there. Tuanzebe, man, unlucky for the lad. But I don't think that Tuanzebe, I don't think he's got a future at Manchester United anymore. He obviously left the tour because of personal reasons. We don't know what that reason was. Was it an injury? Was it anything worse than that? We'll find out. He spent last season on loan at Napoli. He spent time on loan at Aston Villa. Obviously got promoted with Aston Villa. Injuries just kind of got in the way of his prospects. In the same way they got in the way of Erik Bayer's prospects. It's just unfortunate for both of them. But as a football club, United can't afford to be a hospital trolley anymore. We can't afford passengers. We can't afford people to get another chance just because their injuries got in the way of them. It's fucking unlucky. It really is. But shit, we need to get ruthless as a football club. And a couple of these decisions, Axel Tuanzebe and Erik Bayer, I would say would both be ruthless decisions. I think you could afford to give them both another chance, but I don't want Manchester United to be affording anybody chances anymore, just for the sake of it. And that's what I think. That's where I think should change. Just go see what you're saying in the comments. We can't afford to have a smaller squad than usual. I know. And Cordell, that's a very good point there. Obviously, the World Cup's going to make things a bit more difficult. So we're deep because when the World Cup comes in, everything that happens after it, there's going to be a lot of injuries, a lot of fatigue. I'm not saying get rid of everybody here, but I'm saying that this squad is too big. Look at this, size of this squad. This squad, I think it's got like, what is it? 3, 7, 11, 15, 17, 21, 25, 29, 33. I might have got those maths all wrong. Anyway, it's massive. This squad is absolutely massive. It's got a lot of fat on it. It needs to be trimmed. Simple as that. Quite a few of you mentioning Fish down there in the comments. That didn't exactly go well for him yesterday, did it? He looked a bit clumsy, I think would be the best way to describe Will Fish's performance. But he only flew out because Tuanzebe had to go home. Probably wasn't as prepared as the others. And he struggled. He really, really struggled. I mean, it will be bigger than 22, 23. Let's not go crazy. It should be around about 26, 28, roughly. So there should be like 5+ people leaving our club between now and the end of the transfer window. I think so anyway. And I'm identifying the majority of them here. Liban, he's saying, big love from Canada. How you doing, buddy? Thoughts on tyron malacia? I reckon he's going to start for the rest of the season. He's been so impressive. He really, really has. And I personally think there's a real chance now that he starts against Brighton. Judged by that performance there, judged by the fact that he got 75 minutes, I think there's a real chance he's going to be in that team. And obviously, we've still got Aston Villa, Atletico Madrid, and Rayo Vallecano. So there's still 3 preseason games to go. Go down here in terms of midfielders. Now, that's an interesting one, is Pellistri. Where is it? Is it over here? That one there? We're hearing reports that Pellistri is going to be loaned again, this time to Portugal or Italy. I kind of be a little bit surprised at that. I don't think we're massively spoiled for strength in depth in any attacking position, really. You've got Rashford. If you're looking at starting 11 as we think it is at the moment, Rashford on the left, Martial in the middle, Sancho on the right. Then you've got Elanga as a backup there. You've got... Who else have we got even there? We've got Pellistri. Let me go down there and have a look at the attackers. Ahmad, if you're talking about players being loaned out, he's absolutely got to have a line next to his name. Amad Diallo does not look physically capable of playing in the Premier League at the moment. And it's just the truth. It's just his body hasn't developed enough to cope with the rigors of it. And it was when I saw Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain sending him to the shops in that first game against Liverpool. I just don't think if we're looking at players that are going to be loaned out, I would definitely be loaning out Amad Diallo before I loan out Facundo Pellistri. Judging by what I've seen, judging by the fact that Pellistri is in the senior Uruguayan national team, by the way. He's already broken through there. Ahmad, I don't know what he needs. He obviously needs game time. He needs to develop. Judgment's reserved on that one. It's clear that they had a lot of talent, but he wasn't signed for a profile. He was signed because, well, he's a bit of a baller. His stats look right. Let's bring him in. Ahmad, lots of you down here. Ahmad needs to hit the gym, needs to lift his head. Yes, I'll tell you what, that yesterday was that point where we were on the counter-attack for the last 5 minutes. Ahmad, I swear he was looking at it as well. It was such an obvious open ball to the left-hand side. I think it was Charlie Savage who was making a run. And he just kind of like went, nah. This I would really like. Whereas there's a comment there. I'd like to see Ahmad going to Ajax. I think that would be a fantastic little spell for him. You know, Anthony can come the other direction if you really want Ajax. But I think that would be a good loan spell. I'm not saying sell him straight away, but he definitely needs to be loaned. Bebo, just like Wolves and Man City, does United have an affiliate club we could loan the players to Erik ten Hag doesn't want? 10 points. I think I've already mentioned this before, actually. There's no 10 points. Royal Antwerp used to be our, not feeder club, but it used to be effectively our feeder club. We sent loads and loads of players out on loan there. And we also had coaches there too, I think, as well. We had a connection with Royal Antwerp. So it was used as a sort of a breeding ground for Manchester United, per se. I don't think we've got one anymore. Get Iqbal on a good loan. No, I think the way Iqbal has shown himself so far, Iqbal and Savage both look like they're going to be playing part of our first team squad this year. They really, really do look good. But yeah, if we're going down here, that midfield does look bleak as shit. It really does. Look at that. No offense to them. No offense to any of them. We need more than that. We need more than that. So yeah, apparently, Pellistri, we're going to have to put a letter next to his name as well down there. And going down to the attackers down there, he might not exist anymore. Martial's clearly going nowhere now. Marcus Rashford there. Jadon Sancho. Anthony Langer's going nowhere. Tahith Chong, I would personally say loan or just sell. I don't know whether... I don't think Chong's got a future with the club. I think Shola Shoretire, he'll be going out on loan. Look at that. Look how many players I've got. Look how many players I've got lines behind next to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Jeez, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh here. Do you think I'm being too harsh? I think I'm being that harsh. Certainly not in defense anyway. But that it goes to show. It goes to show. That's why. That's why we all know there's still so much to do in this transfer window. It really is. Martinez, wonderful signing. Eriksen, wonderful signing. Malacia, clearly a wonderful signing. And we know we need 2 more signings. But geez, there's so many players inside that team there that need to go. As far as actual transfers are concerned, we haven't heard much on Eric Bailly. Phil Jones, it's all been a bit quiet on the Western Front. Alex Telles, no massive interest in him so far. Aaron Wambasaka, the only interest we heard was about Crystal Palace and a loan spell. That was towards the start of the summer. Brandon Williams, I don't think we'll struggle with Brandon Williams. I think he'll go somewhere. Axel Tuanzebe, I think it was Aston Villa. We're linked with a move with him again, but I think he'll go. Alvaro Fernandez, we know that he's going to be going out on loan. So is Shola Shoretire. We heard that already, but no word on what club yet. Ahmad, I think probably should be getting loaned out. And Pellistri, I'd rather he didn't. I'd rather he stayed, but it sounds like he might be too. And then you go down here, and Tahith Chong. Yeah, I don't personally think Tahith Chong's got a future at the club, and Shola Turatire will be loaned out. But that's so much still to do. And that's why this summer is always going to be big, ladies and gents. Always going to be big. Let me go down to the comments and read a few of your opinions out. Phil Jones, a link to DC United. Come on, Phil Jones. DC is a wonderful place. Wayne Rooney, going to America for a while. Bingo bango. Like that. Yeah, it's 120K a week. It's the exact same reason that even if we wanted to sell Martial this summer, we wouldn't be. We couldn't. 240K a week he's on. Martial is on literally double the wages that Lisandro Martinez has just been signed for. Imagine that. Think about that. I'm apparently Hash. Maybe Harsh. Also Hash. Not Harsh. Need a proper rebuild. Oh, yeah. Nagelsmann on Lewandowski. That's hilarious. You see that one? Saying that, honestly, how are Barcelona doing this? It's because Barcelona have got nifty accountants. Shifting money between certain numbers that it all presents itself very well. That's what you pay good accountants for, right? Barcelona's accountant must be paying a ton. Well, actually, no, he probably got deferred wages for 2 years. He's probably owed about 60% of his wages. How good was Donny with the first team? His great team goal. I like that from Donny yesterday, which actually reminds me, thank you for saying that. This is what Donny said after the game. This is a good one.
Are you aware of just how much the fans appear to have taken you on board? You might not have had the best of times so far, but the fan support for you every time there's a match, it's where's Donny? There's a lot of love and support for you. Are you aware of that?
No, I think that's positive. That they like me, and they know I will always give everything, and I hope one day I will give him something back. But it gives you confidence as well, and it's a good feeling.
Donny, man, Donny is somebody who, I don't know. So many of us were so excited when he came in, and obviously it hasn't really worked out for him since. But yesterday, Scott McTominay was taken off at half-time, and Donny van der Beek, he excelled. Donny van der Beek has never been, and will never be, part of a holding midfield duo at Manchester United. It's not where his strengths lie. Ten Hag's already said that. Ten Hag said his best position is on the edge of the opponent's box. And we saw that yesterday with that goal. Wonderful movement from Manchester United. And who was there for the cutback? Boom. Donny van der Beek sweeps it across to Rashford. Beautiful. Probably the best team goal we've scored so far in this preseason tour. And he was an absolute crucial part of that. I hope it works out for Donny. And it's the part of the pitch where United have got a little bit sport for choice, aren't we? Got Bruno and Van der Beek. You've got Eriksen, who's come in now. Technically, you could put Hannibal inside that equation. But I hope it works out for Donny. I really, really do. As a super chat coming in from Z6, I'll read that out in a second. But I'll go down here and see what you're saying about. Look, love Donny the man, of course. I think Donny's not been managed right, says Tyler. Donny hasn't done himself a lot of favours. I'll be completely honest. Man United hasn't given Donny the best of favours. I think it's a bit of like there's no guilt, there's no innocent party in this sense. I don't think Donny's done enough with the chances that he has had. But at the same time, I don't think Donny has had the best of opportunities inside a system that he knows. It's clear he's a good lad. It's clear he's got his head in the right place and his heart in the right place. And therefore, I'll continue to support him. And Ten Hag won't give up on him. And I don't think he'll give up on Ten Hag either. And I think, hopefully, that will be just the beginnings of Donny coming through. Because the first couple of games, I think we played around him rather than through him. But he seemed like we played slightly different. I don't know whether we played a different formation against Crystal Palace. I don't think we did, but it felt like we were operating with two proper number 8s. And that really suited him playing alongside Bruno. Z6, what are you doing, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. You're saying, what do you think about Alejandro Garnacho? Now, I had this to pull up as my final talking point today. And there you go. Let's talk about it now. I'll be honest. I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on with Garnacho. I hope that somebody in the press conference out in Perth, maybe you, Troy, you can do it, asked him, what's going on with Alejandro Garnacho? Because we've not heard anything about injuries. I know that James Garner was injured. I never heard anything about him being injured. But I just find it a bit curious. That's the word I used. It's not something to lose your shit over. I find it a bit curious that Garnacho hasn't played a minute. Even Chong's played. So something must be amiss there. And I'm guessing it's probably an injury that we just don't know about. Because I don't think there's anything else to question. And if you are, you're going to start making assumptions. Hope Donny plays in Scott's position next game. See how he performs, says Warren. Scott McTominay and Fred, they've started every game, haven't they? They've started every single game so far. And I'll be very curious to see whether or not that changes next game on Saturday against Aston Villa. Because I think a lot of you would like to see Fred and Van der Beek there together. No, not Fred. Bruno and Van der Beek with Fred behind them. Okay, that's what I mean, Glenn. You can presume, you can assume that maybe he's got a poor attitude in training. But I think that'll be slightly unfair. I don't know. I'm a bit curious about that one. Nick, what are you saying, sir? Donny can only thrive with smart players around him with short combination football since he isn't strong or quick. Look, it's nice. I'm looking forward to. Well, I've been waiting for Donny to sort of explode onto the scene for a long time. But that yesterday, just the way we played, everyone played their part. Martial, Rashford, Bruno, Fred, Donny van der Beek, Sancho. It wasn't a game. That's what I said in my match reaction. It's a good note to finish on. We didn't finish last season. We heard so much last couple of years. Moments FC, individual moments FC. Not anymore, man. We're looking like a team, like a proper unit. Yesterday there was 5, 6, 7 players. You'd be like, you all played really well. Kind of hard to choose your man of the match. And they weren't individual goals like 30-yard blasters. They were all really well-worked team goals. And it was fantastic. But look, I wanted to... That's a really nice conversation we've had today. Nice and interactive. Answered as many of your questions as possible. And you're sending in good questions too. That's important. That's why the comment section is always on slow mode on YouTube and for subscribers only. Because I go and I read as many of them out as possible. Gary, thank you very much, by the way, for saying this on Facebook. I think I ban 3 or 4 people a day on Facebook. I don't get it. Can you stop fucking asking about Lord Voldemort? Because he who must not be named will not be mentioned on this channel. And I constantly swerve it. But I need to figure out how to ban that word on Facebook. I'll do that later. But look, thank you very much for joining in today. I'll be here tomorrow, as always. I'll be here at lunchtime today with a really nice video. I think you'll like this one. So it's a follow-up on my video I did after the Melbourne victory game, I think, about Ten Hag's system that we're seeing in play. And I want to really focus on the fullbacks. I think that's a big, big part of what we're seeing coming into the team. And it's changing the shape of our football. So drop a like on the video. Thank you very much if you're new. And subscribe if you are. And I'll see you soon. Take it easy.